Welcome back to RGR Football, folks. I'm glad you're here. Happy Memorial Day. For all you vets, everybody serving now, thank you very much for everything you do for us. This is going to be a night for you guys. We're going to ask all kinds of questions. I'm going to give you all kinds of answers. We're going to touch on some of the players that you want to know about, and we're going to get into the details. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back. I hope you guys are having a great holiday. It's a fun time of year to actually get a little bit of a break, right? And that's really where I'm going right now. I needed a little bit of break. Didn't have a video last night because everybody's out and about and doing things, and that's just kind of the way that it goes. But I want to say thank you to all the vets, to everybody out there serving. If you're deployed right now, watching this at some point around the world, thank you for all you do for us. It's something we can't pay, but we can appreciate it, and I definitely do. We have some information as we move forward. I have to go backward a little bit, though, because we're going to answer a couple of questions, I think, from Alex from last week that I missed, because, things kind of get crazy at the end of a live stream, especially when everybody's kind of coming and going and that kind of thing. I want to start, before we even get into that, with what comes down. What is this week about? It's second week of OTAs, right? So they're going to get a little bit more progressive. We talked a little bit about it on Locked On Chiefs today, and that brings me, I should probably share that. We have something new. A lot of you guys ask me about, what goes on. When is Locked On Chiefs coming back? Well, Locked On Chiefs is back on YouTube. We are, of course, always a podcast first. We are on all of them, Apple, Odyssey, Amazon, like all the A's, right? And of course, Spotify. But for those of you who've been asking when the show is going to be back, this is why it hasn't been on my channel. It's because we're starting our own channel for Locked On Chiefs. One episode is up. We did it the other day. If you guys would go over there and like and subscribe, that would really help us out and get us flowing onto this. And that's what we're going to do going forward. We're going to have video over there. Obviously, video here at RGR Football, but you'll be able to listen to it wherever you are. I know a lot of you guys are YouTube addicts, not exactly podcaster. That's fine. I want to make sure that everybody has it everywhere. So that's what you can check out. It is just Locked On Chiefs. You can find the channel now. If you guys would check that out and help me out, I would appreciate it. That said, want to show out a couple of other things here too. This is the Locked On Chiefs homepage, and a lot of you guys, memberships are booming. Stevie Keys and Brian Gooch have put together a couple of new shows. One that's going to premiere probably tonight. That is Rogue Life from Gooch. It's like an after dark, you saw maybe one. If you haven't been in the memberships lately, this is why I wanted to bring it up. A couple of folks saw it, not all the members. We are growing in the member diversity, but what I want you to see here is this is the homepage of RGR Football. When you run down, you get the main playlist, right? The next one down is the members only playlist. And it's not specific to any level. Like there's different levels that get different vids, right? Right now, I want everybody to have access to what the guys are doing. And you can see Gooch's new one here. So each individual one is in set permissions, like whoever gets to see it. But they're all here on this members only videos playlist. So if you're a member of any level and you want to see what you can see, check out that playlist. Now, this month, everything's going to be for every member, whether you're just in the chat with the lowest level, or if you want to get into the rookie level and see all the extra vids that we do from all of us, including myself and everybody else. That's how you can get in it. We'll probably start that in July. For now, I want every member to get access to it. So that's what we're going to do. And that's out there. I wanted to make sure that I show that because I've been talking about it a lot, but not really showing it. So, hey, that's the way that it goes. I'm going to unshare that because we have some things to talk about. Mecole Hardman, this is a big season for him. That is on the Locked On Chiefs show for today. It's on audio. You won't see video of that one for a bit. Mecole's got a big task, and I know a lot of you guys have been seeing him on social media, and that's great. He's got a bigger task than normal. This is kind of like where the rubber hits the road, and I expect him to make progress. I expect him to make a step forward. It feels like a lot of people think that he's put some bulk on. I hope that that's true. I think that will help him in shedding press, in getting away from some of the defenders. but he's got to be running better routes too. The stem is one thing. He's a great vertical threat, but at the stem where he has to cut off of that initial direction, he's got to vector quickly. And that's something that he's had to work on for a while. I hope that he does. This is a big week for that because right now they're going to start to amp up more 11 on 11, but they're going to have to be better out of the breaks because everybody can cover these days. And the Chiefs have a lot of interesting cover guys as well. So this is key. And the other thing in the thumbnail is Tyrann Mathieu because he kind of walked back his Twitter comments. And I hope everybody takes this for what it is. Tyrann's first thing at his press conference, I think it was Thursday, was, hey, I delete a lot of tweets. That's the way that he works, so don't take anything that he says or doesn't say too drastically there on his social media. He did reiterate that he wants to be back in town. He intends to be back in town. I think this is key because they have to get that together. He's got to show that leadership, get everybody on the same page on the defense, and really twist that so that everybody's coming together. This is what they didn't have last year. Having the sophomore class and the rookie class in, they got to get it all together now. And I think that's where Tyrann Mathieu really stands apart from what he's trying to do and how he can lead this team towards the right direction. So I'm really intrigued by it, and I think it's going to be very, very important for the way that everything goes down. Now, we got a couple of super chats. I'm trying to go back. Alex left one last week, and now, of course, I can't find it. I had it pulled up here, and now my screen just kind of went hazy. Let me do a quick search, and I will see if I can get Alex's question. Because he was kind enough to leave some super chats back in the day, last week, during Chief in the North. And if you guys missed Chief in the North, that's important. That's Seth's show every week. We're going to be doing it on Thursday. So I can't put it on the screen, but Alex asked back then, and I missed it because it was towards the end of the show. Alex said, is Powell our Dwayne Bowe of the future? Not quite as tall as Bowe, but a big body possession receiver. That's the thought. They called him a post-up in the press conferences. And I think that goes back to Ryan Nutt and Brett Veach wanting a little bit more of a physicality from the wide receiver group, and that's perfectly fine. Whether he can perform as well as Dwayne Bowe, we don't know yet. That is the idea. That's the concept. That is not the replication yet. We're going to find out. But yes, they want some of that bigger body physicality thing. And I think that's good. I think that's something they need. Sammy brought some of that. You have to replace that. And that doesn't mean he walks into a starting role. Like Pringle, and Robinson. Pringle's got the bulk as well. I think it's going to be quite a fight. And I'm really looking forward to it. So keep your eyes peeled there. Alex Baumkamp, thank you very much. I'm sorry I missed your one on Thursday. So I wanted to make sure that we hit that right away. And then we'll get in. Folks, if you want to super chat and support the channel, feel free. Please do. We very much appreciate it. It helps us bring on new talent. It helps me, keep the guys so that their time is being rewarded. And it helps us develop new products, new ideas, et cetera, et cetera. That said, if you do, whatever dollar amount you want to contribute to us, make sure you ask something tonight. Tonight is about you guys and your questions. And I want to make sure that we do that consistently. So Nipper Girl's here. And you won't be watching live, but you can catch it later. Okay, so she must have left this before we started because that's the first one on my board. And tonight is all your questions. I'm not just going to answer the super chats. For those of you, Nipper, thank you very much. I'm sure you'll watch it on replay, so that's good. Like Ben Brotbeck, he's been contributing quite a bit lately. And Ben, I thank you very much. I don't want you to feel like you have to, though. I know there was some conversation that I didn't see during Chief in the North last week, and this is not an obligation. On Chief in the North, the super chats will always get answered. You guys ever give us a super chat, I'm going to answer it. It doesn't matter what the stream is. But on those nights, that night is very specifically to Seth and I working out his topic of the week and what we're going to accomplish, the two of us, like we used to do on Locked on Chiefs, where we would debate and get into the details. We don't always agree. We do fairly often, but not always. So we'll get into it. And so those nights when we have like heavy topics or things that we're trying to discuss and work through and explain to everyone, like the super chats will get answered. Not all the other questions will, because this is the Q&A tonight. If you leave question marks at the beginning of your question, I will find them. Aaron Morrow will help me find them, our fearless moderator. Thank you, Aaron. And this is about you guys and getting them answered. So Ben, once again, Ben, very generous tonight. Thank you, Ben. And I don't see a question behind it, but I know you'll ask one coming up. So I'm going to get into it. And there it is. I just had to scroll a little bit. And Ben asks, with all the collateral damage coming tomorrow, any rumors churning about who might be available? You know, obviously, the big thing is what's going to happen with Julio, but he's not alone. There are other cap interest things that are going to come along. You never know. Like the Broncos picked up Kyle Fuller's brother, and they never saw it coming. He used to play for Fangio in Chicago. He was a surprise cut. That happens. And so they picked him up. That was a great thing. And actually, another thing that I should tell you guys, check out Matt Miller's Substack. Matt put out his current roster grades for where everybody's at in the AFC West. Chiefs did have the best grade. Chargers right behind them. But the Broncos are coming on, and they're a quarterback away, I think. If they get this thing done, like they seem to be rumored to chasing Aaron Rodgers, that's going to change things. But that said, cuts like that, trades like that, sometimes they're total surprises. So I can't point at anything right now that I can tell you for certain, but I think there is something coming. And Stevie, Rogue Heads Huddle is the name of Stevie and Gooch's show. And I like that Rogue Head. I hadn't seen it till a couple weeks ago, but hey, it's here now and I dig it. So I'm really glad. Let's see. Next question. And folks, again, if you're new, like, sub, hit the bell, and put question marks in front of your questions so I can pick them out of the chat and not beg Aaron to help me. Lego, very good point. Thank you for bringing that up again. I like to highlight those when you guys make points that I either slip or don't hit enough. Kansas City Chiefs, I disagree on what Marcus Spears said, that the Browns have a better overall roster than the Chiefs. Any thoughts? I mean, there's strengths and minuses. You know, for what they do, double tight, I think they're running a little bit thin at this point. I like Njoku, and he's a free agent coming this next offseason that I think Chiefs should be keeping an eye on. But they do run the ball better, period. That's not a question. If Odell Beckham is Odell Beckham, they have a wide receiver core. That's a rivalry. They probably have a better defensive front overall right now, although I think that the addition of Jaron Reed's going to change that. Overall, I think the Chiefs' secondary is probably a better unit, but the Browns have better individual players. I think you can make arguments that Denzel Ward is better than what anything the Chiefs have other than Snead. I would put Snead up against him head-to-head and feel absolutely no pain because Snead's my guy, and you guys know how I feel about him. But Marcus Spears, don't take any of that to heart. Anybody on ESPN is trying to make headlines. Anybody on NFL Network is trying to do the same. There's a few people to listen to. Like when Orlovsky breaks things down, he means that. When Bowens breaks things down, he means that. That's evaluation. That's not just opinion. And I think we get a little tied up in what people's opinions are. Don't worry about that. See the evidence before you care. Don't worry about Marcus Spears. Voodoo, do the Chiefs keep 10 defensive linemen, or is Ward, Taco, or even Dana in trouble with a roster spot? Taco and Dana are not in any trouble whatsoever. One of those guys is likely to be the starter opposite Frank Clark. My money's on Dana right now. And I do believe that Taco will be the third down pass rushing specialist type. Kendo is behind both of those guys. Kendo is not in front of anyone. So don't get carried away with the rookie hype either. Ward's interesting. They like him. They've kept him around. Can they squeeze him on the practice squad again? They might try. I don't know if they can accomplish that or not. So we're going to have to see. But it is going that direction. So yeah, I don't think so. I think Ward, Tim Ward is the one you want to watch just to see what happens there. Aaron's back. Okay, good. Yes. And Stevie is successful in creating our own RGR vernacular around here. I like that. Let's see. Voodoo had another one. What is the possibility of seeing Long at right tackle and Niang at right guard if they just want to get Lucas acclimated? I mean, it's a possibility. That's for certain. I haven't heard anything firsthand from any of the beat reporters or anybody in the building about how LDT looks. I think he's there. I haven't seen that confirmed yet, but I do think that he's there. And I think those two spots are wide open. I think it's best for the future if Lucas plays tackle, because that's what he's going to do long term. But I can definitely see Kyle Long. In fact, if it all works out, if everybody returns to, if Long and LDT both return to 90 or 95% of what they were before they missed time, then the best two there is not Niang, it's not Remmers, It's not Trey Smith. It is LDT at right guard and Long at right tackle. If they recover that far, we have no idea if that's true. From what I understand, Kyle Long took a lot of reps at right guard last week. Perfectly acceptable. We'll see what happens this week. I think they're going to change some things around, and Andy is known for like rotating players. So let's just let it play out and see what happens, especially with not as much coverage as we're used to. I think we really have to have a bit more of a patient streak this offseason than most. So, hey, it is what it is. Thank you for the question, though, Voodoo, as always. Gooch is here. And CV's here, and Aaron's here. Dan's not going to make it. He is not feeling well. So I don't think you're going to see him tonight. And Danilo had a video he put out. I want to know what you guys think about it. It got a lot of attention there last Friday. So check that out as well. I don't see him in the chat tonight, but hey, you never know. He's a drop-in kind of dude. Voodoo's got another one. Does Creed have a better rookie season than Mitch Morse? I don't know. From everything I've seen until Friday, I saw Creed lining up at center. So it looks like they're confident in him being the starter right away. Who knows? This division, I think, is coming for them a little bit. I think they'll try to stack on him. I think they're going to blitz the A gaps if he's a starter. That's perfectly fine. I think he'll survive just fine. Does he end up, giving up less pressures than Mitch Morse does as a rookie? I have no idea. Let me get a feel for him in a couple of preseason games. I'll give you a better idea. And then week one, I'll know where he's at week one. I'll tell you that. Let's see. I slid too far, as per usual. There we go. Dog. Thunder Dan proposed a trade of Clark for Jones. Yeah, Dan's thinking outside the box. Danilo is unique in that facet. I don't particularly agree with that. I wouldn't want to see them weaken what is already a weak position in order to strengthen one that is already strong. That's does that mean Red Veach agrees with me? No, he might agree with Danilo. So I think it would also include what you get back. I don't think it would just be Julio. They'd have to get somebody else that can play there because I don't think they're prepared to go with Dana and Taco as the starters with a Kano backup and Tim Ward as a backup. Like that's very, very thin at edge rusher. So I don't think that that's going to happen, but interesting scenario. And that's what every team is doing this year, at least all the good ones. They're walking through every scenario they can come up with to be prepared. Compare and contrast Tyrann Mathieu and Eric Berry, and which would you rather have and why? I'll tell you what I'd rather have is I'd rather have them together. That's what I'd like to have. Eric obviously plays strong or did pre-injury, and more power to him. He played strong through cancer. It was the Achilles injury that got him. But you notice he played pretty good defense on everybody except Gronkowski, right? So the coverage aspect got a little bit away from him. I feel like Tyrann is a little bit more instinctual in terms of coverage. He comes from being a cornerback. That's perfectly normal. But I think those two guys could interoperate between playing some high, playing split high, and who comes down in the box depending on the down. I would love to see them together. But Tyrann's a little bit more crafty. He does get beat up more, though, and he doesn't provide the run support that Eric Berry did. Eric Berry was Dan Sorensen plus in terms of like a safety that could play as a nickel linebacker. So they are not the same cat. Together in a 3 DB set or 3 safety set, they would have been incredible. I'm sorry we won't get to see that. But, I told you guys at the time, I just don't think that Eric can play anymore. He's just not explosive anymore. That's part of the injury hassle. It sucks. Ian, is Malik Hooker worth a look as a first-year price on a 1-year price deal? Yeah, absolutely. The question is, what are you going to get out of him? The injuries are the big issue with him. So it makes it difficult to bank on it. And I'll tell you guys, the guy that in the back of my mind, I keep watching and I want to hear about this week in particular is Will Parks. He played a lot of good snaps at nickel and at safety for the Broncos. You saw him make some plays against the Chiefs, and now he's there. Like, I think he should be, if he is the player that I think he is, he should be pushing Armani Watts for that 4th spot. Let's see what happens. Ryan, finally made it to the live stream. Welcome back, Ryan. It's a very talented, deep roster. I know that there's optimism and hype about the UDFAs, but how likely is it that any of them make the final roster? It's nearly impossible. I mean, all the UDFAs that people are hyped about are positions that have guys in front of them. Corner, wide receiver, Is there a guy here and there that could make it? Yeah, I mean, that's what Tershawn Wharton was. He came out of the blue. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, I could see Boodle going to safety. I don't know that he can play corner in this league. I could see him going to safety. Maybe that helps him again with that, fourth spot. That could be something. Trying to think a UDFA that I think has a good chance. It could be the safety from BYU. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. I know he's got good athleticism. It's how well does he fit, and how much does Andy like him compared to Sorensen? Does he see him as a step down? I don't know that any of the UDFAs are really going to make the 53. I think there's going to be a number of them on the practice squad, and that's perfectly fine. I would probably take the under at one UDFA making the roster right now. Voodoo, does Emmanuel Smith, Amari Cobb, Riley Cole push DOD and Darius Harris off the roster? No. I don't see it. I don't see any of those guys being better than Harris or DOD. The question is DOD run his course and they're just done with it? Because Cole's got good athleticism. Cobb and Emmanuel are solid in between the tackles. I don't know that you trust them outside of that. So it is about fit. And I think that's, again, where it comes back to who's going to step into what role. Because no matter what, you have to play special teams. Ben Neiman is still the fourth linebacker on this team, you guys. He's not going anywhere. He may even play snaps early in the year over Nick Bolton. You never know. We're going to have to see how it works out. How often will we see Jones at DE? I'm really banking that it's going to be 20%ish is my thought. I can't tell you for certain. But by his build and by everything that they've kind of hinted at, I feel like it's going to be more than I expected. Last year, I think it came out at 12%, no, 11%, something like that. I'll have to look that back up and confirm. I do expect more. I think maybe double is my thought. Avery, welcome back. What do the numbers have to look like, in your opinion, for Mecole's season to be considered enough progression to stick around? Whew, that's a good one. He's got to do, in terms of production, he's got to be number 2, in my opinion. You can't have Pringle or Robinson outproducing him. So I need 7. I need 700 yards. I probably need 5 touchdowns. Something in that range that I think would be enough for me to say that he still has space to go. And quite frankly, in this offense, with what I think they're going to try to get Clyde the ball in the air more, and Travis and Tyreek, obviously, I think that would be a very good output for him. That's just my general thought. What do you think of Hardman's yards and touchdowns are going to be? Well, and that's the big question. If he can hit 705 or 807, that would be even better. I think he has it in him. The question is about his route running for me and understanding where to be visually. Like, he's got to be able to sight read with Mahomes and know where he's going. I mean, when it's a set play and he's the primary or secondary read and he's got the scheme advantage, he's money. You've seen him do it. He breaks long plays. It's when he has to adjust and he's not the primary and he might be the third guy that Mahomes has to come back to. That's when he has to be in the right place. And we've seen that be a struggle for him a couple of times. Mr. Gooch, thank you very much. We are Rogue. It is Memorial Day. And I am very happy that all you guys here, 300 on a holiday. That's pretty good, you guys. I thought it might just be me and Gooch and Stevie sitting around, but hey, Aaron would just be tossing airplanes at us. Let's see. Spencer, what do you think of Wiley is on the roster, either gets cut or gets traded? I think he's a trade candidate all day long. I think he's played well. I think he's stuck between 2 guys that are better than him in terms of LDT and Kyle Long, who could both play the guard spot. I think there's better depth at the tackle spot than he can provide. So I think he is a trade candidate. And I think there will be takers because of his experience, because of his versatility at positions. I think there should be. This is a good one. Stevie needs to know this. What do you guys think about the length of the show? And do they need to cut it down to like 45 minutes or less, maybe half an hour, something like that? Or do you want an hour show from Stevie and Gooch? Let them know in the comments. How many sacks does Clark need this year to make it worth keeping him after this season, since they have a good amount of money by releasing him? I need double digits. This needs to be a double-digit Frank year. And if it's not, if it's 8 or it's 9 and it's close, I need to see 40-plus pressures, if not a little bit more, to tell you the truth. So it's tough. Xanax, let Ryan breathe. Serious. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Linebacker continues to bother me. Is an improvement in run stopping, or coverage going to improve this year? It needs to be both. I don't know what it's going to be. Hitch came in lighter, and he said he's trying to stay lean. That means he's trying to not get caught out of position in coverage more. What does that do to the run game? Hopefully not much. I think a lot of the national media have really underplayed just how much of an impact the addition of Jerron Reed's going to add. Because now, especially if you put Chris outside, Reed and Nadi in the middle, or God forbid they listen to me and run a 46 front and put Jones, Reed, and Nadi on the guard center guard and then let the edges have some havoc. Like, man, that could be devastating, and that could stop the run a lot more. But I think even if it's just Nadi and Reed inside it and Chris is on the edge, I think that's going to work, and I think that's going to help them out quite a bit. It doesn't take much. You stop a team on 3 or 4 runs in the first quarter, they're not going to come back at you. Teams will go away from it. Sean McVay will do it in a heartbeat. It might only take 2 runs. You get a TFL on one of them, and it's over. And that's just the way that it goes. So I hope that that's what we see. Tyrone, when does training camp start, and when do OTAs happen? Like what the days of the week are and when do they end? Well, they didn't practice today. They start tomorrow. 1st through the 3rd is the second OTA group, which means that they have a certain amount of time and reps that they can take. They can still practice the rest of the week on Friday. And they could even wrap around if they wanted. But it's not like the specified, it's more meetings and things like that. It's not on field time. So then they have one more session of, I believe it's 3 days. And then it wraps up in, I think the 3rd week of June is mandatory minicamp. I don't have the dates in front of me, but they're somewhere up there. That's when it all comes around. And then they go away, and they'll report probably the last week of July. That's normal. I haven't looked at the actual dates. I can probably take a quick look at those just to see what the dates are. And then usually the actual camp part is going to be broken up by 12th, 13th is my thought. Let me see. So, yeah, I mean, you might see them report on July 29th, 30th. That's a Thursday or a Friday, so they can get into the weekend and get working. And then so August, I'm guessing they're going to wrap camp on like the 12th or 13th. Maybe we'll see what the schedule is. With the 3-game schedule, that might change actually. So they might wrap camp after that week. My whole thing is I want to see the first preseason game, and then I go to camp. So for you guys who want to try to meet up this summer or whatever, that's what it'll be. Unless they wrap St. Joe camp before they play a game, then that'll be my plan. I want to see them post their first action. So the official dates are out, Tyrone. I'll try to bring it up next time. Ben, will Powell be able to replace Sammy Watkins brought to the offense? I mean, not all of it. No, he's not that explosive guy. Can he run the slants and the slugs and the stuff? Yes. Can he be the possession guy opposite Hill? Yes. Can he beat out Pringle and Robinson in year 1? I don't know. I'm not even convinced of that. We're going to have to see how it goes. Let's see. Spicy, how much faith do you have in Mecole to take a big leap this year? I have less faith than I had last year. I thought it should have been last year. I think he was capable last year, and he didn't do it. So I'm 50-50. Mecole's got to prove it to me now. Who is the O-line going to be starting this season, and who starts in the middle of the season at the O-line? Good question, Gary. I think the left side is set. It's going to be Brown and Tooney. I think you might see Blythe start early. We'll see how this progresses. I think Creed takes him by the second quarter of the season, so game 5, 6, something like that. And again, I don't have any concept of where Kyle Long and LDT are. I'm hoping that, and I'm optimistic they can get back to full strength. And if they do, they should be the starters on the other side. Does that mean that doesn't shift? Somebody will get hurt. Somebody will get banged up. LDT, sprains something for a couple of weeks. Long slides into guard, Niang comes up, and that's your midseason. So it could be. Let's see. Ian, top 5 returning players that are on the roster bubble this preseason. Good God. Keys is probably on the roster bubble. Bo Pete. I mean, technically he's returning. Tim Moore definitely is. Allegretti, Wiley, Garrick Dieter, Marcus Kemp, definitely. Jacob, what's the missing piece to make this defense elite? There's a couple. There's no shutdown corner on here. Snead is very good. He's not a shutdown corner. Can he be? Possibly, but he's not there. There is no all-around linebacker yet. Willie's got the athleticism, but he doesn't have the breakdown ability. Hitch and Bolton are lesser athletes, but can run the defense. Like, there's no all-in-one. If they're going to leave just one linebacker on the field, they don't have one guy that can play 3 downs, in my opinion, and dominate them all. So that's going to be it. And they have to have another edge rusher. They have to have somebody that can get to the passer as well as Frank, if not better. Because Frank, Reed, and Jones should take all the doubles and take all the attention. The guy that rushes from the edge on the left side needs to be able to dominate. They don't have that right now. Can one of their guys emerge? Possibly. But right now, not so much. Can all super chat donations go to allergy meds for Dan? Good point, Chris. Yeah, I think he's going to get a bonus from you guys this week. I know how that goes. I don't have many of them, but when they hit me, like, it's pine pollen season here in the mountains, so everything's coated in a fine dust of greenish yellow pollen, and my wife has trouble. Thank you, Gooch, as always. Gary, would you trade Frank to Atlanta for Julio and a third pick? For Julio and a third? No, they would never do that. I would be reticent to trade Frank for Julio and whatever the picks are, because again, what you're gaining in Julio, you're losing in an edge rusher that they don't have anyone else to replace. So, I mean, if you did that and signed Ingram, possibly, but that just ate up all the cap plus that you have available. So I doubt that could happen. Baltimore, Dan is out of commission tonight. He is not feeling it. Houston or Breland? Breland in a heartbeat. Lego, Houston's not coming back. He didn't leave on good terms. He can't produce like he used to. Houston will not be back. Just mark my words. Don't get tussled up about it. It's just not going to happen. Julian, how are you? If Hardman and Powell both exceed expectations, how would it affect defenses in their play calls? Well, it depends on how you define exceed expectations. If Powell can be a guy that can consistently make 2 or 3 grabs because everybody else is targeted, that means they have to walk down, and it maybe gets them out of too high. I expect a bunch of teams to play too high this year. And if they don't, they're going to be in cover 3 with guys, playing turn early and getting out of there. I expect more too high. The Bucs did it with a lot of single high, but cover 3. You'll see some of that. You'll see some 6. I think a lot of teams want to go 6 to try to disguise things, but Mahomes usually picks that apart pretty well if he has the time. So if they both exceed expectations, that means that they have to stay in too high, because that means you have Tyreek and you have Hardman that are being productive, and that speed threat is enough. And then if Powell actually comes on, that means he and Travis are underneath. That means you have to put the pressure on the linebacker group, because if you have too high, even if you're playing nickel or dime, you still have some gaps in the middle. So I hope that happens. I think it is you're going to get teams. And then the final stage of that is you get teams in too high. You get teams who are playing nickel and dime all the time. Nickel's pretty normal, but if you can get teams into dime, then you run it down their throats with an offensive line that is better apt to run power and run straight ahead and get Clyde on the go. Whew, I could be very excited about that. You guys know where I'm coming from. Jake, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Got to support the best Chiefs channel around. Thank you. I hope that means us. Question for the audience. Have you hit the thumbs up yet? Has the defensive line seen the same relative upgrade as the offensive line? Yes, please. If you would hit the thumbs up, that always helps. And if you're new, like and sub. I wouldn't say so, no. The addition of Jarran Reed is important. That's about it. No offense to Kano. He's not an upgrade. He's nothing yet. You don't know what he's going to be. Quite frankly, he underproduced as a college kid. So saying that he is an upgrade over Dana or Taco, who plays good snaps, Taco, not enough of them, but good snaps last season, you can't say that. So really, Reed is undervalued as his an upgrade, but as a whole, the revamp of the offensive line has been much more drastic and quite frankly has been a lot more jumping the total level of performance. So I'll put it that way. Let's see. Daryl, how are you, bud? When are we going live? The next Zoom will be week after next for the members, and we'll have a couple of invitees along for the ride as well. That's going to be fun. And then we'll get back to the member streams, although I'm not liking that as much. So I want to keep doing the Zooms because then everybody gets to talk to each other, but that's just the way that it goes. Okay, I somehow missed a couple here. Gooch with another one. Thank you, Gooch, as always. Our resident bank. Firefighter Farmer had one. I heard that CAH was not at OTAs. I know it's voluntary, but would have thought he'd been there. Thoughts? I haven't heard that. If he's not, I'm not too concerned about it till probably camp, because quite frankly, he's running behind a line that needs time to get together. So I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I mean, overall, you want everybody there. So Scatterbrain, aloha. How are you? Another one that I didn't get up on the screen. Do Chris Jones and Frank Clark get more sacks this year? Yes. Jaron Reed helps both of them. I hope it's a dramatic increase. I can't promise that. But as a whole, he draws doubles in the middle that both of them can make more pressures off of. Thank you, Kenneth Bruscher. I think that was your first one even too. So welcome to the channel and thanks. Jake had another one. Does Ty Mathieu want for Breeland indicate any lack of faith in the rookies or second-year starters? Getting Breeland critical to his extension. Getting Breeland back is not critical to his extension. He'll be extended either way. But what it does say, it's not that it's a lack of faith, it's a lack of depth and knowing that they need some leadership in there. Charvarius Ward is not a vocal leader. He's not somebody that's going to mentor younger players. You're relying on Snead and Fenton, and they're very good at what they're doing, but they're not veterans. You know what I mean? Like they have a little bit of experience. Ward as well. So I think there is something to be said for having a veteran in the room, and I think that's kind of where Tyrann's going. Also because he knows that he can adapt. He knows that he has a shorthand with Breeland that he might not have with everyone else yet. I hope he and Snead get on that point because they can be doing some switching and things that I think could be really beneficial for the defense. But I don't know if they're there yet. Okay, so now we've gotten caught up. And the first question I've got here, the first question I have is from Emily. Thank you. Why question Pringle so much? Many games last year he was open, but Mahomes focused deep. I'm not questioning Pringle. Dan and I are two of the biggest Pringle proponents that are out there. I'm just saying I have to see it because he's made big splash plays at times. And you're right, Mahomes is always focused deep. Pringle's got the speed to do that. If he can line up in the X in Sammy's role and take those deep routes, he can make those pay off too. But don't get me wrong, Emily. Both Dan and I are huge Pringle supporters. Not questioning him. I'm questioning whether they give him enough of a chance. That's what I'm questioning. Dylan, is there any trade you would like to see in the preseason? I mean, sure. You want to bring over Nick Bosa for Andrew Wiley? I'd be all into that. No, I'm just kidding. Like, there's a couple of positions. If you can upgrade the edge rush for something, I'm into that. Obviously, the Jones trade is an offensive-oriented trade. That's fine. If you can get a true lockdown corner, I'm into that as well. But they all come at prices that I'm not sure the team wants to pay it, and I'm not willing to mortgage the future in order to pay it either. So that's kind of where I come out at, Dylan. I'm trying to think if there's a specific one that I would be working for. I have a feeling that Veach is very interested in Jones. I just don't know if he's willing to pay the price. We may never hear, or we might hear something in a couple days. Who knows? Thank you, Dylan. Steve, should Clyde change his number? He doesn't look like 25 to me anymore. Well, hey. Yeah, but you know what? That's why there's eras. Nobody's going to look like 25 when Jay Charles was wearing it. So let him do what he wants. Would you sign Jesse James or Trey Burton so that you have better depth at tight end? I mean, I would if they hadn't signed 3 other dudes. I think Noah Gray is meant to be the Trey Burton of their current roster. But with Bell and Kaiser there and Jody Fortson still in the room, like I feel like they've signed everybody they want to sign, and they want to let them battle it out. Both Burton and James would be way more money. So I don't think that they do that. Thoughts on TEU with Kelsey, Kittle, and everybody else? Does it distract Kelsey? No. That part, working on releases, working on routes, working with other tight ends. Don't get me wrong. He and Kittle are friends. Olsen as well. Let's not forget Greg Olsen, who's thoughts out to Greg Olsen because he's got some family things going on. So more power to him. But those guys working together, I know they're pals off the field, but like working on technique together, Travis might pick up a couple of things that can help him as well. So let's not undersell that portion of it. But no, it's not a distraction. If they were out partying doing another TV series, then I'd be worried about it. But being on the field and working together, I think it only helps everyone, to tell you the truth. If I was Hitch, I'd be a little pissed off because I don't want to see Kittle. You know what I mean? Let's see. Looking for more questions, and then we'll finish up the super chats. We're not going to go over tonight, folks. Thoughts on Katie Sowers? I think it's great. I think everybody reacts to coaching in their own way. And when I was a coach at the college level, albeit not in the professionals, obviously, I interned for a professional team that you guys know, but I did not coach them. I think everybody has their own kind of thing. And if you can get as many perspectives on that coaching ability as possible, I think that's great. I will not be surprised if she comes in, helps out. I don't know if it's going to be like wide receivers, which is, I think, the bulk of her time at San Francisco, or if it's maybe O-line that could maybe use some help there. I don't know. But whatever it is, I think that a fresher perspective can help. I hope that it's with Mecole, to tell you the truth, because I think her experience working with Emmanuel Sanders and working with Debo Samuel. Like, I think those are guys and perspective from her that can help Mecole. So I'm really excited about that. And I think I will not be surprised at all if you see it's an internship that then usually turns into a hire if it works out well. I will not be surprised if she's on the staff permanently. I think that's great. Derek Barnes, I'm sorry I missed you. Thank you, Aaron, for setting me straight. Does Brian Pinkle make the starting lineup over Robinson? If I'm the evaluator, yes. Does he? I don't know. I'm really interested to see what Joe Blameyer can do in terms of affecting the depth chart. Because his coaching, brand new, he and Lewis have changed responsibilities. Greg Lewis is now the running backs coach, and Joe Blameyer is now the wide receivers coach. He's not quality control anymore. He's not just doing the film, but his film work is very intensive in what can help wide receivers. And I feel like Byron Pringle is in a position and has the desire and able to soak that up. So I think he and Mecole are the guys that can benefit from that the most. I'm not sure about Robinson. I think Robinson likes playing loose and playing off schedule. So when Patrick breaks the pocket, he's very good then. I don't know if he's good at stacking receivers as well as he should be. I don't know that he can be a guy that you could force the ball to and have it be productive. Has a player on the bubble ever copied their playbook and sold it to another team? Not that I'm aware. Kenneth, thank you. I think Gray or Fortune battling for tight end 2. What do you think, and who wins the job? I would love it to be that way. I think Noah Gray is already a guy, so he's way ahead of where Jody is. I like Jody. If you guys remember, we had him on Locked On Chiefs this time, the year he was drafted. He was great. He's an honest kid. He wants to work hard. He wants to make it, and I have faith in him. The question is Blake Bell. This team has liked Blake Bell and Nick Kaiser in a way that doesn't make sense to me or didn't at the time. And I feel like that's kind of working against Jody Fortson. So I think Noah Gray is the 2. I think it's done. The question is, does Jody Fortson bring enough to the table to play special teams and possibly block in order to beat out Blake Bell and Nick Kaiser? I don't think Nick Kaiser is that great for this team. I don't think he's an incredible blocker. And I think we saw in the field he's so-so. So I think it comes down to the battle for TE3 is what I think. Let's see here. Ben, thank you again, as always. And if I know you have a question down below, I will go find that. Steve, do we need to evaluate our definition of the word great? It's based on a player's accomplishments, performance, or both. And what is the correlation? I mean, I don't know whose definition you're going by. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's about performance, and then it's about performance, and then it's about performance. Everything else comes as secondary to me. Do you think Devin Key makes the 53 as a special teams ace? No, I do not. Yeah, I don't know that he comes back to camp. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Chew. Anyone else notice that Noddy looks much better shape this year? Loved his performance in the season and before, but last one he looked a little fat. I mean, he's a nose guard, man. You can use that weight to positive effect when you're lined up over somebody's face. So it never bothered me. But yeah, he does look a little trimmer. Colin Saunders seems to be talking it up on social media like he's a little trimmer. I haven't seen a picture of him yet, so I'm not sure. But both those guys, with Jaron Reed, they have to step up their pass rush specifically, and that's what the weight will help, I think. Voodoo. Thoughts on CB2? It's done. It's Ward. There are no thoughts right now. Spags seems to want corners to travel. Snead, Fenton, Hughes, Baker can, but Ward can't. Doesn't matter that they like Ward's performance so far until they get somebody to replace him. Until DeAndre Baker is a better player on the field than Ward, you're going to see Ward out there at that spot. It's not going to change. Spags will go with the steady veteran until the upside of a younger guy forces him to change. That is my thought exactly. Xanax, we need an undercover agent in Miami, Niners and Bucks room. Watching what's going on. Please report back. Okay. I don't know what room you're talking about, Xanax, but okay. Jim Murphy, how much longer do we have LDT on contract? I believe this is going to be his final year under contract. I will check that real quick. And let's see. If not, it would be 2. I think this is it, though. I'm checking Spot Tracker right now, and I will tell you guys momentarily. And as it comes up, he got tallied forward so that it did cross out his next year. So this is it. 2021 is the last season he's under contract for right now. So more power to him. He is 30 years old, or is he about to be? He is 30 years old right now. So seeing him get another year older, I don't think that's going to help him. So let's hope that he's back for good. Ben Brombeck, thank you. I'm glad I found it. Who do you think will be the special teams aces out of the UDFAs? I'm guessing Riley Cole, and why can I not remember the other kid from BYU? I'm losing my mind here. I just talked about him 2 days ago. Those are going to be my guesses. Gary, do you want to shut down corner for Julio Jones? I mean, yeah. I mean, me personally, I'll always take the defensive side because I think wide receivers, you're able to scheme them up more than you're able to put a guy on island and make him win. So I will always take the defender in that case. Avery, if Powell can be available for all 17 games, he already surpasses Sammy Broad. That's true in terms of snaps played. Then it becomes a yardage or a points per snap played. Then you start looking at those averages. Availability is your best ability. That is absolutely true. But if you're available and you can't produce, you're not helping that team either. That's my only caveat. I answered that one. Let's see. Dylan, if Baltimore signs Julio, if they trade for him, you mean, would they have the firepower to beat the Chiefs? Yes. Mostly. I mean, they have good firepower. I'll tell you that. The performance is going to be the question, putting it all together. Daryl, we'll do a Zoom chat, like I said, in a week or two. I just got back today, so it's been hazard. We're not going to do it tomorrow night. Probably next week is my thought, and you'll be in on that. All the elites and all pros will be in that, and we're going to invite a couple of people and try to get a bigger conversation going. Folks, if you want in on that, no matter what, all you got to do is become an all pro or an elite member. And there's different tiers in the memberships. You can just go down and join. You can bump up from a lower level too and bump back down when you want. It's all up to you. Let's see. What are the capabilities that made Jaron Reed work so well with Frank in Seattle? Capabilities, he's got more pass rush than any of the Chiefs' interior defenders, and he can stop the run. He takes on double teams. He's got great anchor. I don't think it's any of those things, though. I think he and Frank have a relationship. They have an attitude. They're buds. You know what I mean? And I think they bring the best out of each other is what I'm thinking. But I couldn't point to a specific talent or skill that really makes the difference. Gooch, thank you very much. We're up over 400 on a holiday. I like that, you guys. We got a bunch of super chats I'm missing here, so I'm going to keep forging ahead as we get deeper down. Samuel, where do you think the Chiefs O-line ranks in 32? I have no idea until I see them play. They're literally all new, so I have no concept yet. If the O-line exceeds expectations, would that lead to a historic year offensively? And if they do, could you see us using a 1,000-yard rusher and 3 wide receivers? Plus, it would help the defense. Absolutely. And this offensive line has better capability in moving people in the run game than the last 4 have. So I think it's a possibility. I'm hopeful as well. Eric Streeter, how many practice squad players are allowed this year, like 10 or 16 like last year? Right now, I believe it's 16. They haven't let an official number for the season. Right now, they can have the full 90. We'll find out, I think, in the owners' meeting next month. Maybe not. I'm not sure when that's going to be announced. Do you think Powell has the potential to do well enough in the season to outperform DeMarcus? Possibly. Guys, we haven't seen him do anything against anyone yet. So it's one thing to be what you are in college. Now you have to take a step forward. And if he's slow in camp, if he doesn't get the offense, if he's not understanding what his role is, he's going to struggle. That's normal for a rookie. That's not indicative of somebody who's not going to make it ever. But we can't start projecting yet. Steve, is Spags' ideal defense generating a dominant pass rush with 4 million and dropping everyone else into coverage? 2000 Baltimore Ravens, like last year that I recall being able to do that. Well, and they didn't even really do that. They sent guys. They sent safety blitzes. They had Ray. They sent Ray a lot. I would say that they dropped some out as well. But yes, that's Spags' general concept. He wants to get home with 4. I wouldn't say he wants to drop everyone. He will play a spy, or he'll like to have somebody else closer to the line of scrimmage for when teams try to run on him. Jeremy, what's the word on Bo Peep? Keys? Absolutely nothing. No one's seen anything of him. So we won't know until we see him on the field. I feel like we need to hype up Joe Thuney more. That's fair. What is he going to bring to the interior is going to be amazing. It is. He and Creed are like, I think those two are going to get along. And having the power of Orlando Brown next to him, I think, is going to help Thuney as well. Pono, how are you? The Club and Salmon awaits you. Dude, I will be there. And hey, if they brought back Pennell, I wouldn't mind it. I don't think there's room on the roster unless somebody falls down. And it's up to Colin Saunders to make this roster and secure his spot. But I think with the addition of Treshaun Watson and Reed, I don't know. And Mike's like 32, almost 33 now, if I remember right. So it might be pushing it. He might just be okay to be moving on to the next part of his life. Do you see Darwin making the roster? Not right now. I don't. I see McKinnon probably ahead of him with Darryl, with Clyde, with I'd have to look at it again right this second. Like I said, it's been a long weekend for me too, you guys. I think it's on the outside right now. This is my thought. PKTM. Oh, and thank you guys for all these super chats. I'm just trying to get through them so that I make sure that I get everybody. I have like 10 left, so I got to get those done in 7 minutes. What do you think about the ceiling of the wide receiver group? Who do we put together if we don't bring in Jones? If they don't bring in Jones, they're going to ride with the guys they got. And then it's going to be a battle. Powell, Pringle, and Robinson for who gets to line up on the outside on the line of scrimmage. I think it's going to be a good battle. I don't see Kemper Dieter making any headway in that. And if Powell is there and Robinson, Pringle, Hardman, Hill, it's getting pretty thin behind that. Can Callaway do something? Maybe. Callaway's been a basket case everywhere else he's been, though, so I'm not putting a lot of thought in that. Let's see. Answered that one. Geek on a Harley, welcome. You're back. Glad to see you. Very interesting in going to training camp. Where can I get information on where to go and how and all that? None of it's out yet. It will be on Chiefs.com. The official release will come when they announce that. We don't have dates. We don't have any of the specifics. They're trying to make sure, and they're formulating how they're going to do it. For those of you who like to hang out on the hill at training camp, I don't know that that's going to happen. There's rumor they might have to move people off there so they're not in that close proximity to the players. What's the word on Bo Peep? Keys? Yep. Same question. Sorry, I missed that one. Gucci's going to get me. Have you heard of Noah Gray will attend tight end U? I would assume. I have not heard for certain. Stevie said, Gucci, I'm home, and the super chat button works too. I'm glad you guys are home. You guys are killing me. But thank you. As always, thank all of you that super chat us. Gooch and Stevie like to make it a challenge for me. Thank you. But the generosity is there, and I appreciate it. Can Noah Gray be the tight end 2 to back up Kelsey? He absolutely is, in my opinion, and he definitely can. Okay, got that one, Jeremy. Gooch said, I was trying to be good, and Stevie wakes me up. Great. Don't wake the beast. Gooch gets going, and all of a sudden, I'm scrambling. Not going over, you say. I've waited all stream for this. Thanks, Gooch. Appreciate that. The wife wins over you, though, bro. Yep, it does still work. Thank you, Gooch. I got to tell you, there are worse things in the world to have supporters like this. So thank you, guys. Brandon, do you think that Fenton will get re-signed when his contract is over? I think he's been solid so far. Talked to about players for us. Yes, absolutely. I think he got a little lost last season. I'm not sure why. I think the Snead addition threw him for a loop, and they really, like I said, they really like Ward and Breland. This is his time. If they don't add Breland back, he should be a starter. It's about him and Hughes. Competition is always good for everybody, so I don't mind that. But yes, even if he does become a starter, he's going to be cheap to re-sign because he doesn't have that many snaps. I think it's going to be a great. I like Fenton a lot. And it's funny because he and DeAndre Baker have nearly identical athletic profiles. So you can see how there's a tenacity thing the team likes that doesn't necessarily have to be elite athleticism. Let's see. I went easy, so more questions could be answered, but now it's time. Thanks, Gooch. Yes, I have to answer everyone else, dude. Got Brandon's. Stevie's laughing. That's great, because he does. And I missed that last one from Stevie, evidently. Oh, I didn't put it on there. It was right below the other. Okay. Jeremy. Dude, I can't. You guys keep asking the same question. I don't know. He's in a battle. I mean, I just named 5 guys that should be the top 5 corners. He ain't one of them. And then you have the UDFAs coming. Like, there's good talent. It's not elite talent. There's a lot of like number 2 and number 3 corners on this team. Snead is the only number 1 corner, a guy that can effectively take away the other team's starter. He's the only guy on this roster that is that level. And he's not there yet. He's got a ways to go as well. He's got to keep working. Masterpiece, how are you? Do you think that the current offensive line of the Chiefs has the ceiling to be better than the 2003 unit? No, I just don't. Because they're not as utilitarian. They block. They're better run blockers than last year's line was. They're not Rofe and Shields and Waters and Wigman. No. And I'm glad you put in Tate there because a lot of people forget about John Tate. He was very good at his position as well. But no, that offensive line they're in the top 5 of the last 20 years. I don't see this group being that good. Maybe I'll feel differently about that after we see Lucas Niang and Creed Humphrey play. I don't know. But for right now, I'm going to say no. Let's see. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you putting that back up there because I was slow on it. Let's see. Going to wrap this up here quick. Zane Anderson. Thank you, Jeremiah. I appreciate that. Zane. I don't know why I have a block on Zane. It's unique. I should be able to remember that stuff. You got houses. We got Mahomes. Rock on. Playing the edge is a real thing in Spags. He said, absolutely. He will play more edge. I'm thinking up to around 20% of the snaps is my thought. Jake, thank you again. I think that's 3 for you. Appreciate that, dude. And yeah, I think we're just about caught up with Jake's question. One more. Do you think Reed will get a contract extension instead of Frank, or does Frank's get extended to help sign Reed? That's a very good question. I think Frank might be somebody that has to produce this year, like double-digit sacks. If he doesn't, they might not bring him back. They might try to move him. I think Reed is probably more capable of producing at his position to an acceptable level than Frank was last year. I'm hoping that the 2 guys multiply each other. That's what I'm hoping. I think that it could happen. Very good point. Okay, I got that one. Which UDFA do you see making the team? Like I said earlier, Mark, I don't know that I see any making the team. Nobody right now has a clear path to be. There's a lot of guys that could. Zane Anderson's one of them. I don't know. It seems like they like Marlon character, I got to say. But I don't see a clear guy that should make the roster. There's all bunch of guys that are maybes that have a chance. I don't see anybody right now that says yes. I mean, I haven't seen any practice yet either, so let me know. Thank you, Stevie, as always. Guys, check out Stevie and Gooch in the members playlist. You got to be a member to see it, but all the members can see it right now, all the way down every single level. Eventually, that'll go back to all the videos will be rookie level above. I think that's like the $15 range, something like that. But for right now, I want you guys to get a look because these guys are hilarious together. Ben Finley, how are you? Do you wish we didn't cut Damian? Because I sure do. I think Veach got a bit impulsive trying to sign Trent Williams. You made the investment in Clyde. Any running back beyond that needs to be a secondary priority, and Trent Williams was the priority. I agree with you. I think they were related. I won't say that I regret it. Running backs are able to fill in for each other. I don't think they're that important. Honestly, I don't think they should be selected in the first round. I said that when they made the selection. I think Clyde's fit is incredible. Could you have traded back 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 spaces and still gotten him? Probably. Yeah. KSU practice squad receivers. Man. I think French still makes it back to the practice squad. No, I don't think he has a chance at the 53. Kemp. I don't think Kemp's eligible anymore. And I don't know if Dieter is either. So that, oh man, that's all I got. We'll have to take a deeper dive at that and I'll take a look. Has Damian Williams been signed anywhere? Yeah, I think, what is he in Indy? No, he's in Chicago. He's in Chicago. Yes. Stevie, will any non-safety make the Raiders roster? Somebody has to, right? But I'm glad that you keep up. That's good. KC, if the Chiefs stand pat on Julio, do you think that they take a crack at Van Der Esch? I don't. I think the medical will take them out of Van Der Esch myself. And quite frankly, I don't think he fits their scheme that well. I think he's a downhill only guy. They just drafted Bolton to do that. I don't think they want to run 2 of them. So I would say probably not. And that's going to do it for us, you guys. I don't see anything else here. Terry, it's not a signing. It's got to be a trade. So I would like to see anybody in the NFC keep him there. Quite frankly, I'd love to see them stay in Green Bay and implode. That's what I'd like. Ben, last one. You're welcome, as always. I feel like Damian was so good in the playoffs. He was very cheap. And I think the opting out didn't help. But, yeah. But, again, I think there's a lot of running backs that can produce in this offense. Ryan, is there a scenario where we carry 9 O-linemen or 10 O-linemen? That's going to be the question. Right now, I'm leaning towards 10. And that's part of why I don't know that Darwin's going to make the roster. So that's it for a Monday night. Thank you to everyone who's here. We hit over 400 on a holiday, and that's awesome. Thank you to all the super chatters and all your support. Everybody that's been buying the t-shirts. I'm glad you guys like it. The Trooper seems to be pretty friendly. I have some more designs coming for that stuff. And if you want to support RGR, wear it around. Tell your friends. Get a shirt and let them know. That always helps us. I hope you guys have a great one. I'll have something for you in the morning. I think me and Matt Derrick tomorrow night is going to go up. And then Dan, all of us, Chief in the North, have a great week and enjoy what we see from the Chiefs. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for tonight. We'll talk to you.